In the famous words of Tahuti, it's showtime. Get him in here. You don't want to miss this. Y'all, Faise.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the poke chair under it. Scroll down, look at the poke chair under it.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young Faise, we in the building. Hey, y'all, if you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Right? If you don't receive a notification from us every day, come back and check with us. We running the game. No doubt. Now, before we get started, we'd like to make this a quick announcement. Faise One, ladies and gentlemen, got 10 books out, right? 10 books that he authorized. If you want to get those books, what you would do is send your cash app to Play for Change, right? The cash app is right here at the bottom of the page. Now, if you already got the books and you want to just show them some love, right? This is the cash app. We're going to have it pinned in. We're going to drop it every 5 minutes in the chat. Before you work, the guys that want to get the books, you would send any amount of donation over to the cash app. And what you would do is leave your emails in the links. Be sure to leave emails in the links. Now, for you guys that that's still waiting on the books, check your spam, because sometimes it gets sent to the spam, right? We had to make that quick announcement. This is the cash app right here. Like I said, we still got that 44K fundraiser going all the way to April too. If you want to help Faise One on this studio time and other things that we are doing to fight against the beast. So stay tuned for all that. We got more coming out. We got more books. We got more music. I mean, we non-stop action. And for you, the guys that been with us, right? We non-stop action, right? Also, quick announcement: Sunday night, Mama Rabbird will be on Sunday night with Rod Hayes to give us an update on and public service announcements and things of that nature. What's going on with the move that we on? Right, so you want to be tuned in there for that. We should have a thumbnail up by tomorrow for that class. Mama Rabbird, the honorable, the high empress on the land, the big mama on the land, gonna come on Sunday night again. So we waiting on the time, waiting on her to get back with the time frame on that, and we're gonna give you the update on that. Yeah. So right now, as you can see, we've been on the move as far as our, we alkalining up, we vegan up, we pretty much moving completely into the green light before we go into the blue light, right? When Faise take us to the blue light, we doing the last couple moves on the green light information, right? Because that blue light gonna be a little tricky. It's gonna get fast. It's gonna get faster and at a fast pace. We're gonna be becoming invisible. We're gonna be becoming telepathic. We're gonna be becoming more aware on what's really going on around us, as far as soul light beings, non-ether gas type beings. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out where you from. Like I say, as always, we got Phase One backstage, ladies and gentlemen. The hottest in the game. If you ain't heard of, if you're new to the channel, you ain't heard of Phase. I mean, on where you been at? We the hottest in the game right now, right? So we're gonna be talking about tonight. X marks the spot, and I can't wait to see what Phase gonna go in on this particular subject. And we got a couple questions for him too, because we've been studying tachyon energy. We've been reading this book right here too, finishing this book, The Dark Fleet. I don't know if you can see that book, The Dark Fleet. Right, hold up. This guy seemed like he's a student of Malachi. This guy, when you read his book, I don't know if you can see that, Dark Fleet. But then now he goes in to talk about tachyon energy. It just came up in that book because a lot of people have been asking questions about the tachyon energy. And maybe young bro Faise could go in a little bit on that in connection with the X, and X marks the spot. Because the center point is the zero. Tachyon really is 0 point energy. That's what it is. They got this, they said that tachyon energy moves faster than light. Right? And they are right in a way. They right. But we're gonna break it down a little bit more better for them. We already broke it down in the Ascension Manual a little deeper. I don't want to get too much into because I'm gonna do a whole tape on it, on tachyon energy. Because I got about 200 questions. Hey man, what you think about tachyon energy? This and that, right? And what we say is, if you know about music, in music they have what they call the rest. You got a beat, then you got the rest. Right? Now, keep in mind, everything in the universe is in constant motion. So, being that it's in constant motion, it's generating the energy in because energy converts. High energy is formed, like say the sun. The sun burns off from hydrogen to helium. Now, in that process of the switching from hydrogen to helium, there's an energy in that particular that window. Because keep in mind, light don't travel straight. Light travels in a wave. Everything travels in a wave. So in that wave or that dip is what they call the rest, and it's a stored energy right there that people that ain't on a certain level have been utilizing that energy. Really 0 point energy, and that energy can be used as a tack on energy. It can be tacked on because it's not being counted. And it's actually moving faster than light. Why? Because it's the medium in which light is utilized. Tachyon energy, 0 point energy. Right? So you can tap into that rest or that 0 point and utilize that because it's a form of energy. It's the in-between. It's the in-between as energies transform from one energy to the next. It's that rest period. In that period is just not that's not counted. Like if you look at a clock, it goes tick. They say tick top, right? Well, in between the tick and the top, there's a rest point right there. And that's why if you look at the time frames they're giving us, they don't ever give us the first. They say the lowest increment of time is the second. Well, what comes before the second? What comes before a second in the increment of time? There is a thing that comes before the second, and that part is what they label as the rest or the first, period. So that's like we're gonna get more into that tachyon energy because they say that Hitler said on one of Hitler's ships, the one they used to fly to Mars, that they had got some technology from the Andromedans, the humanoid Andromedans, on the tachyon energy. Right, the 0 point energy modular, and they start creating these huge submarine style UFOs taking the submarines, right, and putting this tachyon or this 0 point energy on it, and was using it to go out of space for Hitler's Dark Fleet space program. And they was going to like Mars, and they said that that Hitler and them had found out that, and this right here dude, he got his own perspective, but he said that Hitler and them had found out that Venus was really a spaceship. And Baba had already pointed that out when he said that Tiamat had 11 moons, and one of those moons was Venus, right? But they didn't call them actually moons. They actually Baba referred to them as actually ships, warships, and several of them got destroyed. But that one Venus, they said it was this dude said in his book that Venus is a mothership for reptilians, and he some of the shit he's saying is partially correct, because the reptilians do have a well, he go Faise, y'all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now coming to the stage, the hottest in the game, Mr. I Am a Good Man. Yeah, I am a good man. Fuck what you can discern. Don't get another chance. This day you learn. Hey, y'all, we back, y'all. We live. We better than ever. Mm-hmm. And today is X marks the spot, right? And hey, man, Faise, I've been thinking about a lot of shit today. That I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Going into the X marks the spot.
Let's do it.
Now, we see got the pyramid looking down from the bird's eye view. Then it's got the X. You can see the X there.
Yeah.
What is the significance of that, brother? What is the significance of that X? Looking down and seeing that X, as it is above, so is below. Go ahead, brother.
Right. Well, firstly, it's like I've explained to a lot of people before. This was the whole science of. First of all, welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a while. Like I said, they're gonna play their games. We're gonna go through our ups and downs to try to figure this out. But we back on square. All right. So ain't even no worries. There was your understanding and your overstanding. Okay. So this is just one of the codes that I'm not sure if people really understand how important it was to break. Okay. Because one of the 7 wonders, if not the greatest wonder of all of this planet, are the pyramids, or is the pyramid. Okay. Something that was built way before any of these establishments or civilizations existed. And they're still trying to figure out what is the mystery of them. Okay. And how they're aligned to such a degree, and, how they were built and what they were before they were how they are now. You understand? Because they're dormant now, but they're trying to figure out what was it like when they were active. Even to this day, they're trying to figure out what is the seismic readings that they get from up under it. It's still a wonder. It's not something that they solved, right? It was important for people to have the overstanding when it came to the pyramid, okay? So look at the word itself. The word pyramid is saying pira or pura, which is say a fire, okay? And the word mid is saying in the center, okay, or central. And if you go look this up, you'll literally find up in the etymology of a pyramid, central fire, or fire in the center, okay? But if I'm looking at a pyramid from standing beneath that capstone, which is where that fire or that ord or that nord would be at, right? Which is at the top for most people who are looking from the down position upward, all right, or with an angle of elevation. If I'm standing at the base of the pyramid, looking at the top of the pyramid, all right, that capstone where that fire will be coming from is not in the center, okay? The only way the word pyramid would make sense as they built the word is if you were looking from the bird's eye or the God's eye or the Horus's eye or the eagle's eye or the Ibis's eye view, looking down, okay, as the gods who had those higher ranks were able to do, or who had those vehicles were able to do. The same reason why they etched into the ground the geoglyphs or left behind your rock eagle mounds, or why Dr. Malachi York laid out Tamaray with the Horus image that can only be seen from the bird's eye view. Are you with me? So they speak about the school of the birds, advanced school. And we're speaking about overstanding. So literally overstanding. So think about it. If the name or the word or the tone pyramid means fire in the center, okay? And that fire or that light was coming from the capstone, okay? The only way this word makes sense is if you're looking down onto that pyramid. Now, when you're looking down onto that pyramid, you find another science. And that science is the science of the Rosicrucians, okay? Because that same fire in the center is what Jesus is pointing to okay, when you find him in the images, all right, or E.T. was pointing to, when you find E.T. phone home images, E.T. was doing the same thing. And there was a heart that was ignited or sparked up or inflamed or engulfed in flames. And that heart was lit up for a reason, to signify that there was a fire in the what? In the center. Most people think the heart to be the center. And when you think of the 7 chakras or the 7 points, all right, or the 7 wheels or discs or cycles, okay, because the different names for them: loops, wheels, discs, cycles, but the 7 chakra energy points, all right, the one that's in the middle or in the center is the heart, okay, or the anahata one. Okay, so if that fire was in the center or that fire was in the middle or in the heart, what you would do is, instead of just drawing a line to line up from the root to the crown, okay, you would also draw that the perpendicular of the line going up and the line going to the right, the X and the Y. You understand? So once those points meet, you literally have what appears as a cross, okay, which is why I explained to you Matthew 27, okay, that he was on the cross, his being called Asa, or Jesus was on the cross, all right, but then he rose up off the cross, his ghost, he said he gave up his ghost, a direction, his ghost went upward, all right, rose up off the cross, Rosicrucian, the same. If you're not familiar with it, the brother Young Elder and I did a whole class on the Rosicrucian science, okay, so it will behoove you to go look into that. So the thing is, when you're looking at that cross, all right, when you turn that cross to an angle of 45 degrees exactly, which is interesting because I explained the whole science of the cornerstone, okay, which that 90 degrees inside of that L that forms this square, which will be that box that you were looking at from the bird's eye view, okay, half of this 90-degree angle is 45 degrees, all right? So if you're looking at this as a pyramid with the marks in the center or the lines in the center, you have an X. When you turn it as a diamond, okay, you have a cross. So it's the same thing. If you're looking at the cross, then you turn it 45 degrees and you're looking at an X, okay? So the X literally marks the spot. And you could only see that if you were looking from an overstanding point of view, okay, looking down at the planet, how the gods look down at the planet. You understand? So X marks the spot where that fire had the spark at that was referred to as that crossroad that would allow for those next energetic points, which is referred to as the divine truth, the divine reality, and then the divine union with Anu or Ilion, which is the Most High, okay, which will really be the 9 as that globe comes off that gives you that corona. I know we can't say the whole word here, right? Or that what you call that crown syndrome word, all right, which is your halo. So there are 7 points. Once you get past that mental plane point, which is right there smack dead in the center, you have divine truth, which is your Vishuddha or your throat chakra, all right? Then you have divine reality. Think of it as what you can see, reality, okay, which is your third eye chakra, the Ajna chakra, all right? And then you have your Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra on top of that. You understand? Which is your divine union with Anu. So X marks the spot was literally saying, yo, go right there. Come up there at the heart. Don't forget about that heart. Once you activate that heart, then the pineal gland has something to look literally forward to, because the direction of the pineal gland, if you were to compare it to our eyes, okay, that we have as physical eyes, as we say, all right, and you think the third eye of your physical eye is actually a spiritual eye, it's a physical eye. It's just sitting in the brain as the gland, the pineal gland. It's looking downward toward the heart. All right. So as our eyes are receiving light constantly and also projecting light, you have to ask yourself, why would there be an eye inside of our body that isn't able to receive the light? It's not able to see the light that's out here in this illusionary world. What light is it supposed to see? It's supposed to see the light of the kingdom of God. And where do we say the kingdom of God was? The kingdom of God, not God's kingdom. 2 different things. Okay. The kingdom of God is within you. All right. They say, don't let anybody tell you it's either there nor there. Don't believe them. Okay. The kingdom of God is within you, and you have to activate that kingdom of God. They're speaking about that heart. Okay. Because once you get to that point and you start increasing the frequency and speeding up, all right, then the tones you'll be able to create will affect the reality, and we'll get into that. All right. And it's basically telling you where to start at. All right. As far as you becoming that enlightened or blissful being or cheerful or joyful being, where you have no more death, no more sorrow, no more attachment. You become detached, and you've broken out of this cycle of grief that came with this constant pursuing of pleasure. All right. That's why he was telling people that pleasure was the root of all suffering. Okay. So once you get to that divine truth part, okay, when you're speaking out as an orator, And never forget what an orator is. I told you, I broke the code down. As a matter of fact, not only is the year 2024 going to be the year of upregulation, and we'll get into that, I said it's also going to be the year of the orator. All right, but why would I say that? Because I told you the new blue sun was coming. Okay, Andre 3000 told you the new blue sun was coming. Okay, so as we get into this new blue sun, which is that literal central point, that is the throat chakra, which is also blue, which speaks about you being purified in your tones, okay, which we're working on now with this green light. That's why the green light is here. You'll know when the blue is coming. As a matter of fact, it won't be too long, all right? Is when you get to that point, you'll be able to speak literally out of purity to create a new reality, and you'll be helpers of that true light now. You're already surrounding yourself with El Qadir, the green one, the true light, and then you're going to be aiders of that true light. So what am I saying? Or-ator, okay? Orator means somebody who can speak well, okay, or who speaks professionally, or who speaks at a higher degree. Listen to what I'm telling you, because degrees also comes into play when you're speaking about light points, all right? As an orator, you're going to be an aider of the light, all right? And the only way you could truly be an aider of the light is if you were able to take in whatever that truth was, whatever that wisdom was that was necessary for you to be open enough to receive this new song. Remember, Revelation chapter 14, okay, where we said, Revelation 14:4, these are they, okay, not just one person, these are they, all right, that were not yet defiled. They had not been defiled by what they call the women in the book, which sort of harlot was speaking about the world, okay? They had not become a part of the queen's men or the queen's world, okay? Or this fallen monarchy, this ark of the moon, okay? When you go and read the story and look into the story of the walls of Jericho, okay, and go look up the etymology of the Jericho word, and it takes you around to the moon. You understand? Interestingly enough. But the walls of Jericho had fallen, and they had to fall, if you listen to what I'm telling you, because when we told you, yo, we're already going to give you this promised land, all right? I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. This is what Martin Luther King was telling people. I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I might not be able to get there with you, but as a what? As a they, as a multitude, as a collective. He said, as a people, all right, you'll be able to get there. So Revelation 14 was saying what? Because stay with me, because we told you, scream out, produce a sound, and these walls will fall, and you will be able to inherit that promised land on top of the mountain. Stay with me, all right? When we tell you to produce this sound, if you cannot produce it, it means that you weren't able to receive the wisdom to be able to. So in Revelation 14:4, they were saying these were they who were the pure ones, which is why I'm telling you that that throat chakra has to be all about purification. It was also why I explained to people that you were crossing over. Okay, I told you were crossing over because the word Travis meant to cross over, traverse. Listen, Travis Scott. All right, you go listen to the Michael album. The Michael album I had, which had 12 tracks on it. Okay, and if you were paying attention, Killer Mike just won Album of the Year with Michael. All right, so Michael is winning. If you're listening to me, because I told you Michael was going to defeat the dragon. If you know, I got a song out called Dragon, Phase One, Dragon. All right, and I said I'm really Michael them. Okay, because Michael wasn't alone. In Revelation 12, there were angels or messengers, angelos or malaika that came with Michael or Michael. And don't forget that Dr. Malachi Z. York was referred to as Michael, the angel Michael. All right. So as we were telling people that those who had been defiled or broken away from that alignment would not have been the pure ones, okay, then the pure ones have reached that certain point now with being helpers of that light, where they're going to produce only a certain type of sound that the 144,000 would be able to learn. Only the 144,000. This is what was literally written. They said, and they sang the song as it were a new song. Not saying that the song was new. They said, as it were a new what? Song. All right. And at that root of song, you got S-O-N. And at that S-O-N, you're saying a sound. You're producing a new type of sound as if it were a new type of sound. But this isn't really a new type of sound. You're going to find out what this means in a second. Okay. Because when you know how to decode, which I taught you how to do, when you know the language of the light, which I came on here and explained to you about, when you know the language of the Illuminati, I came on how to speak elite. If you got my books, you know about that. All right. I'm teaching you how to crack all of these codes to be able to use whatever scrolls were given to be able to pinpoint where we are, which these scrolls have been programmed for this time period. All right. And be able to utilize whatever secrets they hid in them or gems, okay, to cause for illumination to take place in your reality. All right. If you're not a part of that elect, then you won't catch it. You with me? You're not a part of those electrified ones, then you wouldn't know what was the purpose of the 224 as in 2024, 2024, 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8, being a gene. And I explained to people in the book Rehab, interestingly enough, when you're going to read that story of the walls of Jericho, there was somebody who, when Joshua sent in some spies, okay, he had to meet with a lady, or they had to meet with a lady, the spies. And what was the lady's name? The lady's name was Rahab. Okay, I can't make this up. So go look into it. I just came out with a book on October of last year. Oct is what? 8. Stay with me, because I told you we're hitting many octaves with this. Okay, and it's all about that 8, and you'll understand that it's a gene. Because all you have to do is draw the 8 and turn it on its side, and it looks just like that double helix, okay, that they show you with that emoji. Are you with me? So for those of you who have already accepted that science and said, okay, cool, science of the green light can be utilized, and went out and got your green lights, you're already prepared. So then you have to ask yourself, why is 2 plus 2 plus 4, okay, 2024, election year? Why is all of this happening to be the election year? Okay, as election, got that word elect there, as electricity, as an electrify, and the Bible speaks about the elect. And why has everybody been talking about how time has been speeding up, seemingly since 2020? Time has been running past people. It's been 4 years, and they don't even understand how that just happened. You understand? You're already in February, the middle damn near of February, okay, of 2024, and you were just talking about how this is going to be your year. But if you don't be careful, all right, you're going to turn around, you'll be in 2027, not know how that happened. Because you have to keep up with the time. Like Michael said, Michael Jackson said what? Remember the time. You have to remember the time. Now, if you think of an hourglass, what shape is that? The hourglass is also an 8. And I'm going to tell you, because I said, most people are going to start calling 2024 the 8 year, but they wouldn't know what it means. I put this in my book, Rehab. All right. When you look at the number 8, right there in the center of the 8, what do you have? An X. Okay, as you draw that 8, in the center of that 8 is the shape, which is the X. Okay, as you look at the hourglass, at the center of the hourglass, you still have what? The X. You understand? So the X is in the center of the 8, the X is in the center of the hourglass, and the X is in the center of that double helix. So to answer your question, X marks the spot is explaining to people how to activate that spot, which starts as the heart chakra being activated, or that green light. Then you go into the blue, then the indigo and violet or purple light, and you'll receive that white light, which is your white raiment. Okay, well, you'll be synced up with the holy city, as they call it, or the New Jerusalem, as in New Jerusalem, or Dar Islam. Okay, saying that you will still be able to bring on peace or heaven on earth, which was your whole purpose of praying from the beginning, or reaching out to ascended masters, whatever you want to call them, angels from the beginning, was to bring the heavenly plane to this planet. Okay, which meant that this planet was not in a state of heavenly plane. It was in a state of hell or disorder. So it was all about bringing order to this reality. All right. And through symmetry, you can see what I'm saying, because that's what their whole thing is, trying to figure out with the pyramids. How are they so symmetrical? How are they lined up to such a degree? All right. And you're going to look at the etymology of symmetry, and you're going to find the word sun right there in it. Sun. All right. And it has sun and metron. Okay. So the sun is right there, the new blue sun. And all of you who are able to pick up on this science, you're going to be prepared for an alignment that's coming, all right? Because that alignment also brings you around to a specific key. How can I break that down to you? April 4th, which is 4/4, all right, of 2024, there's going to be a planetary alignment. They've been speaking about it for a year now, speaking about since April of last year, how in a year there was going to be a planetary alignment, okay? And last year, they was also speaking about a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse that was going to be taking place, all right? So there's a planetary alignment that's lined up for April 4th of 2024 this year. So you have 4 plus 4 is 8. All right. Then you have 2 plus 2 plus 4 is another 8. You say, well, Faise, well, that's 8 plus 8 equals 16. Exactly. So then you add those 2 8s up. All right. Because I'm speaking to you about sovereignty. I'm speaking to you about a supreme group of beings who are going to be able to do this. All right. Not the commoner. All right. The supreme being, the elect, only the elect. And if you listen to me, you're going to take this journey with me. You'll understand why we're traveling as fast as we're traveling right now. All right. Beyonce just received her 88th, all right, nominee. All right. What is it, with the Grammy Award or something like that? The 88th one. That's 8 and 8. What does Beyonce mean? Beyonce is literally saying beyond others. Okay. We come on here and did the whole Beyonce exposed and broke down the whole science of what the Beyonce was meaning. Okay. And why she had the nose on her name, because nose was saying standing on top of a hill, or standing on top of a mount, or standing on top of a mountain. Okay, so when you surpass others and come up here, where I am, on top of this hill, which all of you are going to be, all right, or on top of this mountain, you're going to be standing there in the company of somebody very important or some people very important, and they come in the name of what? The Lamb. And remember, one of the sciences is peace, all right, as in Dar Islam or Salam, okay? Peace and the Lamb is truly wonderful. Peace and the Lamb is truly wonderful. So as we're on that 8 and 8, and you have 8 plus 8 equals 16, 1 plus 6 equals 7. What did I tell you in the masonry teachings? The 7 is a key, all right? And when you think of key, you got to also think about music. And when you think of that Lamb, L-A-M-B, you got to also think about that letter, L-A-A-M. When we came on here and did the letter of Farrakhan, all right? And I broke down the teachings of the Lamb. Are you with me? Because we just passed by that 23rd year. And I told you the Lamb was that 23rd letter. And I told you that Isa appeared in the Quran, the Holy Quran, 23 times. Now we're in that 24. Okay? And I'm 25. I explained to people when I turned 24, I said, I'm in my elder year. Okay? We're crossing over. I'm no longer the young person. Okay? I'm in the elder year, as there are 24 elders. You staying with me? All right? So as you surpass others, now you have a key, which means you have a password. And you only those who were able to obtain that would know what the song is. Are you with me? And I'm telling you, it's not something that you just teach to somebody and they can just repeat it, because your frequency would have already been in what? Keyword, alignment with it. Meaning you were in alignment just as the planets will be. All right? Not defiled. Okay? So when you think of key, you think music. When you think of that Lamb letter, all right, which is apparently a staff, right? It appears to be a staff. You have to also think of the music notes, okay? Because when you flip them staffs upside down, you got the music notes, where you have your half note, your quarter note, your whole note, and your eighth note. Go look at those notes, and you will see staffs like the what Bo Peep uses or what Imam Asa appeared with. All right, so look at the letter Lamb, and then go look at the music notes, and then ask yourself, why in Revelation 14 did we explain about the Lamb being on top of a mountain at an elevated point, okay, teaching a song or singing a song, all right, with 144,000 people? And why is Phase One doing a fundraiser and has been doing a fundraiser for months now, okay, called the 144,000 fundraiser? Why is he doing that? He could have done anything else. He could have chose any number, all right? A lot of people think it's about the amount. No, if I would have just raised, I could have just said 100,000, 50,000. I could have chose any number. But I chose 144,000. And it seems to be that 144,000, the science of the green light, all this stuff is lining right up to where we are right now. Because even as they speak about this total solar eclipse from 2017, marking it up to the year 2024, when you go and look at the map of the pathway of 2017 and the pathway of 2024, there's an X. Okay, this is something I looked into myself and saw. I heard other people mentioning it. I looked into it. I said, it's interesting. Because we've been talking about, the brother Young Elder and I went out to the into the masses or into the matrix about 2 months ago. All right, maybe not even that long ago. Probably it wasn't even that long ago. Damn near a month ago. All right, and we were playing the game. I still ain't released that mini doc yet, but we shot it. Okay, but when we did play that game, meaning playing the game like walking around, moving the elements. All right, decoding the matrix in real time. All right, walking side by side. We walked to a building, all right, and the building was a Goodwill donation center. A what? A good, listen, good, God. All right, will. What is will? What was the color of will? I've explained this. The color of willpower was green, okay? And right now we're in the green light. But as we were walking around and talking around that little building, because they told us we couldn't be in Publix, all right, where you say switch the C to the X too. And we were standing outside the Publix building. I said, yo, did you ever notice that that's an eye on that building? And I said, all these people that's in this Publix building is agents. You understand? And they were watching everything we were doing, literally. And it seemed like they would be to the normal person, to the commoner, that these people really worked there. They didn't work there. They were agents. Everybody asked us, did we find everything okay? You understand? They were watching and paying attention until they eventually told us to leave because we had that camera. All right? So we were standing in front of the Goodwill Donation Center. And we're having a conversation about the game and about how one of the security people or whatever, the people that was on duty, didn't want to come out because they didn't want to get on film, but they had to move a cart, all right, from out of the building or from inside the building to outside the building. All right. So while we standing outside the building and having that conversation, Young Elder looks over at the building and he sees a blue X, right? And he said, what's up with this blue X right there? I said, okay, there you go. I said, that's how you play. right? I say, yo, I didn't even realize that. So we looking at the X, we trying to figure out why the blue X is there. And he said out of his mouth, X marks the spot, right? Because remember, we were playing that game. He said X marks the spot. I didn't say it, right? So I said X marks the spot. I said it could mean, I don't know, I said it could mean nothing. It could mean everything. Okay, next thing we know, every day after about a week later, starting about a week later, not even a week later, every day since that moment, because I think we filmed that around January, maybe 3rd, somewhere around that time, right after New Year. Okay, we were just coming into 2024. Every day after that week from that moment, they've been spraying X's in the sky over the sun. Okay, literally every day. Some of y'all are paying attention to it, some of y'all not. You need to go outside and look. All right, every day for the past 3 weeks, they've been spraying X's in front of the sun. And they're not just spraying it in front of the sun. There appears to be a rainbow or double rainbow halo effect that's been around the sun for the past 3 weeks, right? Now, if you've been walking with me on January 17th, all right, 1 + 7, listen to me. On January 17th, we did a fast, and we did a 7-day fast, right? And right after that 7-day fast, there was an explosion that took place. And that explosion was Q, all right, the group Q the Storm, came out on Twitter and they posted a picture, an image, all right, from something that was actually in 2021, all right? And that image was of a White House, the White House, okay, with the green light shining on it. Are y'all with me? And all these things started to line up together, okay? So I remember from the moment that we decided that we was going to play the game, these things started popping off. X marks the spot. So then you look at all of these things lining up, all these synchronicities, and you go straight to where they have the pathway of the solar eclipses, which is supposed to take place on April 8th of this year, all right? So there's a solar eclipse. That X marks a spot right on Illinois, okay? So I had to look at it. I said, okay, if X marks a spot, then the sensor is important, all right? So I went to the Illinois, and I started to immediately do the decoding. And I said, Illinois. The first thing I thought of was Illinois, which is how I wanted to say the shit when we were younger. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, no, you ain't supposed to say it like that. It's supposed to be Illinois. But all I saw was Illinois, okay? And when I think noise, I think of a sound, all right? Which is why I keep bringing back the walls of Jericho, all right? Or the concept of the orator and how you have to produce sounds and how this year is all about the genetic upregulation. And we'll get around to that because it's speaking about the throat chakra being activated, all right? And I explained before that when you hum, you can heal the body. All right, and when you hum, you can heal the world. And Michael was the one who said, heal the world. Are you with me? So I looked and said, Illinois. Illa is God, all right? And the noise is literally saying the sound of God. So I stuck with that. I said, okay, X marks the spot, lands us right here at Illinois, all right? So then if we're looking at the actual meaning of Illinois, they said the shit means best people. It's an old Native American word. I think it was Illinois or something like that. But it meant best people, the best people. So I said, okay, I'm already thinking about music because we're doing a song, the new song, the 144,000. All right. For some reason, this shit took me all the way to DJ Khaled because DJ Khaled was saying, we the best music, right? And the nigga Khaled name, I believe, meant best, right? Stay with me now because Illinois meant best people. And Illinois was saying the music or the sound that God was going to make. All right. So I automatically knew what we were being led to do because also Illy in Latin means right there. All right. So if you go look up the pathway of 2024 total solar eclipse and the 2017 total solar eclipse, there's going to be an X. It lands on Illinois. So why does the word Illy in Latin mean there in that place? Go look up what I'm telling you. It means right there. Because X marks the spot. There's a message. So then they're asking for you elect people to start another harmonic convergence. All right? Listen, everything I'm telling you, I didn't research to find it out. None of that. I figured it out myself. And then I went back in to fact check it. And I found out that the harmonic convergence actually didn't just take place in 1987. It took place during a solar eclipse. And they had people come from all over the world, all right? All different religions and yogis and gurus and pastors and all kinds of people, imams, and they meditated together. They meditated. All right. Remember, I spoke to you about divine truth. Okay. Divine truth is that throat chakra. Let me explain something to you. When you're saying the word medu, all right, as I asked you, what is medu nectar or mother nature, as y'all call it, or medu nectar? What is it? I said the speech of the divine or the word of God. Okay. So medu, we already know, is speaking about speech. There we go with the orator again. Speech, medu. All right. So what is the word tate saying? The word tate, if you go and look deeper into the definition, will give you not only a cheerful being, all right, or a cheerful sound, but it also means truthful or honest. Okay. So meditate is saying, when Dr. Malachi York broke it down, he was saying prayer is the art of talking and not listening. He said meditation is the art of listening and not talking. And if you have my book, Rehab, I explained to you that it's not just the true light that you're adhering to. Okay, listen, hearing. Adhering to. You're going to add your hearing to the true light, and you're going to add your hearing to the true sound. Okay, and I explained to you that because of the refraction of sound waves, all right, when there's not all of this chaotic light, all right, as you get into the nighttime, literally, sound is able to travel further. So when you go into that silence, all right, you're literally able to activate that mind's eye, because silence phonetically gives you side, and side was saying the mind, and lens was saying an eye, or something that you use to see a thing clearly. Okay, so you have your side lens and that true sound, which means you have your true light, which is the green light. And I explain to people, if you want to find the green light, just go into a dark room, all right, and wait long enough, and you're going to see waves of green moving in front of you. Just do it. Don't believe me. The true light is the green light, and I can tell you how to actually go and find it, not some pseudoscience. Go find that that light of every man that cometh into the world has to be green, because when you're in darkness, observing darkness, that light that shows up as a color is the green light. Are you understanding what I'm explaining to you? So everybody who was supposed to be of the elect, all right, in that time period, 1987, came together and they tried to meditate. Okay, they tried to speak an honest sound, a true sound. But what would be the true sound? What would actually be the true sound that they would have had to speak? All right, or what would be the seed sound, or the most basic sound in the universe, or the beginning sound, or the end sound, and the present, all the sounds in all one? What is the most omnipotent? Listen, it's right there in the word, omnipotent sound, or all-powerful sound, or the omniscient sound, the all-knowing sound, or the sound for clarity. It's referred to as the Om. And Dr. Malachi York taught this also. All right, he's not the only one, but a lot of gurus who reach that level explain that this is the sound. So if I'm making it up, go look into it and make me a truth teller. And you're going to find that these people literally went ahead and they started to chant the Om in 1987. And they did it during a planetary alignment. And they were trying to, through what was referred to as a harmonic convergence, they were trying to save the world. They thought if they did that, then they could reverse this. It was supposed to be something that aligned with what was referred to as the Mayan prophecy. All right, because the Mayans had a lot of prophecies. They had their blue kachina, the red kachina. All right, they said that there was going to be a man who had the heart of a single line, or the single-hearted man. All right, because a few different ways you can translate. They wrote the shit on a rock, right? But it was a single-hearted man who was going to be able to take the world and actually lift it up out of hell, or out of the state of disorder, and bring it back to order. Are you with me? So anybody who was in alignment at that time, literally in alignment, came together to line up with the planetary alignment, and they released the Om, okay, which was 3 sounds in one. It wasn't just one sound. It was 3 sounds. It was a 3-part harmony, if you want to call it that. All right. So those 3 sounds, for one, you had the ah, all right, and the ah was saying truth. Okay, basically it was the truth. It wasn't just truth. It was also existence. Okay, so the existence and the truth thereof within the existence, or that existence. So you had the ah. And the word for ah was sat, S-A-T. Okay, so sat. So you start with your A, all right, which is your truth, sat, or present. Then they came with the ooh, all right. So you have your letter A, then your letter U. Okay, so ah, ooh, right? And that was for clarity. Okay, so you have your truth for the existence, then you have your clarity. And with the clarity came the expression of that clarity. Okay, we're still tied to the truth. And that word was cheat. So you have sat, then you have cheat. Okay, you have to spell it C-H-I-D or you spell it C-H-I-T, but it's Sat-Cheat. All right, I'm gonna explain something to you that people probably didn't even know. Okay, so you have your present and your past, Sat-Cheat. And then the last sound, which isn't actually the last sound, because I've explained it to y'all before, that after that comes a silence in the heavens. All right, after you get up there to that crown, because the A was the root chakra. All right, the U was actually the heart chakra. All right, and the M was that third eye and crown chakra. Okay, and then there was a silence after that, a rest. Okay, remember we're still speaking in terms of music notation. All right, so there was a rest afterwards. All right, so when you get to that that's when the light came. That's when the bliss came. That's when you detach from the material plane of suffering. All right, and that word was Ananda. Ananda. It sounds familiar to me because when you say Sananda, it sounds similar. All right, so you say Ananda. All right, so you have your past, which is Sat, or the truth. Then you have your, actually it's the present, Sat, truth. Then you have your past, which is the Chit and clarity. Then you have your future, which is the Anand and light. So when you say Sat, Chit, Anand, you're saying Satchitanand. All right, listen, go find what I'm telling you. The word Sat, all right, and when I saw it, I said, I knew it. I literally said, I knew it. There had to be a reason why these words were put there, because all three of those words, which seem like one word apiece, come together and make a word. And that's another code breaker. So you say Sat, all right, then you say Cheat, then you say Anand, and that gives you Satchitanand. And that word means one that has a good mind. Go look it up. One that has a good mind, not a bad mind. And remember, the bad mind or the evil or the regressing mind or the transgressing mind was the mind of the carnal being. Okay? And they explain even in the biblical scripture, they said the carnal mind cannot please God. Okay? So if you had the good mind, you were speaking about not the reptilian brain being overactive and taking over. You were speaking about the frontal lobe, all right, being able to take over. Because the frontal lobe is supposed to take over, as a matter of fact. It's the boss of the brain. And if the frontal lobe ain't in control, you have some problems. All right? So the whole purpose of us teaching prana, okay, because I had a song a long time ago. All right, I might have been 16 years old. It was called Purana. All right? So when you're listening to it and say, I still swim with Purana. So you think I'm saying the fish, but I was speaking prana. All right? You got to go listen to it. I actually spoke about not drinking the wine. I spoke about the 144,000. I said, I feel like I'm Jesus again. Okay, one day I might got to come and play the song for y'all. But it was literally me explaining what it felt like to be this deep in the water. Okay? Because you're no longer in what people think is the lit up zone. And the deeper you go into the darkness, the more you find out that's the light. Okay? That's why it's the light that every man didn't obtain. They didn't comprehend it. The darkness comprehended it not. They didn't obtain it. Are you with me? So the more people started to figure out about those tones, they said, okay, let's try to use it. Let's all come together with our good minds, all right? And let's do our own. And let's try to bring that good mind, because remember, the universe is mental, all right, into this reality. Let's try to bring the will of heaven or the heavens down into the planet Earth, all right? Now, they tried it. So for some reason, when I found out that there was a solar eclipse coming this year, I said, I know what to do. People need to come together and do the harmonic convergence again, but they don't need to stop it, okay? So this is where it gets a little interesting. They don't need to stop it. Remember, it's about that prana, okay? That prana is that truthful or vital life force or the breath, okay? So it was all about the breath. Dr. York had a breath book, all right, or breathing. Remember I told you, you take a deep breath, all right, and focus on the breath. You're actually training the body or training the being, including the brain, to make what's an involuntary function become voluntary, which will strengthen that frontal lobe or that prefrontal cortex, because involuntarily you're going to breathe. All right, you already have the brain stem and the pons and the medulla oblongata. You got all that shit active already. Okay, you don't have to make yourself breathe, but involuntarily doesn't mean that you're in control. So when you become more in control and start taking in that purana, all right, you literally become an ascended master in that point. You start ascending or awakening, all right, or you become a Buddha, all right? That's why I taught you about the Bodhisattva, okay, because the Bodhisattva has the ability to leave, but they don't leave. They take that same good mind and they try to bring it to the rest of the world, all right? So this is what I'm telling you, because I told you there was a movie called 1,000 Words. 1,000 what? Words. Medu, Medetta. Words, things that can be spoken. All right. So in 1,000 Words movie, they were teaching him how to use his words literally what? With wisdom, wisely. And the tree that had the 1,000 leaves on it was called the Bodhi tree. And I explained to you that Bodhi means a messenger. All right. So you have to also go find this movie. It was called Rock Dog. All right. In the Rock Dog movie, they met on top of a mountain and he was playing music. He had, I can't remember what I don't know if it was a ukulele or something like that, but it was one of these instruments. Okay. Keyword. It was one of these instruments, which is also referred to as a yantra. All right. Where you have your Shiva and your Shakti, which will make a number 8, by the way, or an hourglass if you put your Shiva and your Shakti together. All right, as Shiva as the destroyer and Shakti as the one that brings on what you refer to as the positive side, all right, which is that energy or that charge, okay, or that power, okay, simply saying power, Shakti, and Shiva, destroyer. So the negative and the positive, which gives you a battery, when you look at it, the negative and the positive is a yantra, and the yantra is a machine, but another word they use is an instrument. So as this main character's name in the Rock Dog movie, listen, rock, as in Morocco, as I told you with the Beyonce breakdown, you are Morocco, okay? The Rock Dog, okay, or the Rock God had to go to the top of the mountain and he had to protect who? The sheep. Are you listening to me? Because the sheep weren't able to defend themselves. And all of the sheep had to be protected through music, all right? The character's name was Bodhi, all right? And that's why I'm telling y'all to pay attention. How is all this lining up? Why is Bodhi, who is my biological father, running for president? Why was he doing that? He's been doing that since 2018 and probably even beyond then. I've been working with him since 2018 on it. You understand? So he called himself President R19 before they even came out with the, what you call it, that had that same number associated with it. You understand what I'm explaining to you? These things are not by accident. And it's not an accident that his name is Bodhi, as y'all call it, or Bodhi Ray Love, okay, which is the messenger of the love of God, because Ray is Ra, the sun. All right, and love is saying like Habub, or we say Habib, okay, Rahub, okay, we're saying love again. So re-love is come back to love. A messenger is trying to get you back to love, or the tones of love. Are you with me? So as you learn more about that prana, you say, well, where does prana come from, Faise? It comes directly from that sun. And we're not dealing with the old sun. What did Andre tell us? We're dealing with a new blue sun. And as that sun continues to speed up, all right, you got to speed up with it. So your breath work ain't going to be the exact same breath work from last year. All right. Because those of y'all been walking with me, y'all know we've been doing it. We've been interacting with the sun and everything. I told you the women got to let their crowns out. Okay. It's been a hell of a time. All right. But it's a heaven of a reward that we're going to get for it. Okay. The new blue sun, prana, comes directly from the sun. I want you to think about this. Another word for prana is mana. Okay. Go look it up. Mana. And in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 17, they were speaking about the ones who will overcome. And they said, to who will ever overcome, we were going to give to them to eat of the hidden manna. Something that was secret or a mystery. The Bible, Revelation speaks about it a lot of time. All these mysteries that had to be revealed. The hidden manna or prana. Okay? But manna for them meant food. But even still, the food didn't mean literally you're going to eat food. The same way milk and honey didn't literally mean you're going to see milk and honey all in the street. You know what I'm saying? On the dirt, land of milk and honey. All right, so there's a science behind that. So for those of the people who are ready, the X marks the spot, saying that on this time, okay, which will be that planetary alignment of April 4th, 2024, and I'm going to explain more about this. We might have to come on here and break the whole thing down, okay, because as I told you, the 8 plus 8 gives you the 16, okay, 1 plus 6 equals a 7. What is another word for 7? Another word for 7 is Shiva, okay, or Shiva. And I just spoke to you about Shiva, okay? And I explained the whole science of who the Shiva is, and now you have the key of the Shakti, which is that power tool or that yantra or that instrument, all right? So this being called Bodhi was playing this instrument, and he was protecting the sheep and warding off all of the wolves, all right, on top of a mountain. That lines directly up with Revelation 14. Why did it come out with that movie? It lines up with Revelation 14 of how the Lamb was there with the 144,000. It wasn't just the 144,000 there. It wasn't just the elect there. It was a lamb there. And I'm telling you that that lamb has another sacred associated with it, because that same staff that you use to guide the sheep with as the shepherd, okay, is also used to line up the music notes, listen, or keys, all right, or pitches, all right, which is saying a specific sound or frequency that's associated with that music. Are you with me? So X marks the spot was telling all of you people who make the best music, you best people, who we the best, Khaled, all right, who make the best music. Illinois means what? Best. Remember, I'm telling you. All right, all of you people who are prepared for that, you have to make the Illinois, which is the God sound wave, and you're going to start with on 7:04, all right, or at 7:04, which is in the AM, okay, of April 4th. You're going to come with that, and you're going to do that, listen, because I got to come back and explain it again, but you're going to do that 7:04 to 7:11. From 7:04 to 7:11, you're going to do the, of course, you're going to take your breaths in between. Right? You go to your and then at 7:11, you're gonna prostrate. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what time zone. Okay. At 7:04, if you can manage it, for those of you who gotta go to work, I understand all this other stuff. Okay, but if you can manage it, even if you at work, all right, if you could just produce the sound, if you could just be willing and stand in agreement with us and just produce the sound, you're gonna find that that's calling on the sound of God. Dr. Malachi York wrote this down a long time ago. He was saying when a baby comes into this world, all right, the baby's first sound is ah, and it's making the ah sound, all right, or the Allah sound, Allah, Allah, all right, the ah sound, okay? And they said when you facing death, he was like, you don't fall off the cliff and say, Jehovah. You know what I'm saying? You don't fall off the cliff and say, God. You say, ah, okay? That ah sound is the first step in the om, all right, or the And a lot of people don't realize when you're trying to figure out what comes next, when you're speaking, you actually say, you go back to the basic sound or that key sound. Are you with me? So all of you who are ready, you have to create a sound. And when you create that sound at 7:04 a.m., why am I saying 7:04? Because that's the break of dawn. You with me? That's when the sun starts to become visible. That's what at least it's marked to be. Interestingly enough, you're walking through a gateway because 7 + 4 is 11. All right. So I say go from 7:04 to 7:11 and produce that all right, and then prostrate. Now, how long am I supposed to prostrate, Faise? As long as you need to. You know what I mean? And we're going outside to do it. So you're going to be under the sun. Okay. Remember I told you about the prana. All right. You're going to take your deep breaths and you're going to produce a sound. All right. And then when it's time for you to prostrate at 7:11, you're going to prostrate for as long as you feel the need to. You might get down there and cry. You might get down there and laugh. All right. You might get down there and figure out who is this man? Why am I even listening to him? Why is my forehead on the ground? And I can explain to you why your forehead is on the ground. Because we also said that those of you who were of the elect will have God's name written in your forehead. Remember, you had an X that marks the spot of the beast. Okay. And that was in the forehead. And you have an X that marks the spot of God. A lot of people only speak about the mark of the beast. They don't think about or speak about the mark of God. But what is the mark of God? And this was also explained in the schools of right knowledge, that when you're prostrating and you put your forehead on that ground, all right, you're creating a significant mark, meaning a sign or a mark. And that mark is of your prostration. That mark is of your will to serve. All right. Your prostration is before no man. Your prostration is before no deity other than source itself, which starts as ah. Okay. Then you go, oh, then you go, all right. And we'll get there eventually. So I'm starting you with the one that we're supposed to start with, which is that ah. All right. So I know I spoke literally 50 minutes to answer that question, but that is the beginning of the science of X marking that spot. So did y'all pick up on the fact that I literally told you that the solar eclipse pathway for the 8th, not the 4th, don't get it confused. The 4th is the planetary alignment. Okay. The 8th is the solar eclipse. Okay. Is it interesting to you that that lineup of that solar eclipse pathway makes an X and that it marks the spot on Illinois? Did anybody pick up on that? I showed you. Listen, you have to be able to do this because your realm is always speaking to you. I don't care what anybody says, it's always talking. Right now it's talking. Okay. The fact that I'm wearing a dark a shade and the brother young elder is wearing a light shade means something. Okay. I'm speaking about the negative and the positive as a Shiva and Shakti. Okay. As a battery that will be utilized to charge up something as an instrument. Okay. And you still see the 8 in that battery. Okay. For some reason, we're both wearing those polarized colors. Okay. We're wearing polarized colors. All that means something. Okay. So the more you learn how to read it, you pick up and say, Illinois. All right. Then you go and get the book Rehab. All right. If you don't have the book, the brother young elder can explain it to you. You go get send a donation to Play for Change Cash App, FORCHANGE. Play for change. Send a donation, any amount, and it's 10 books. All right, I'm gonna send them to you. Of those 10 books is a book called Rehab, and in that book, I explain about the supreme mathematics science of the number 8. I don't just call it supreme mathematics. I actually explain it by saying build and destroy. Okay, once you get this octave situation down, and you know that that's what the 8 is for. All right, then you'll know what types of sounds can tear walls down, and you'll know what types of sounds can build walls up. And it's all about tension. And you put that in front of it, and it's about intention. Are you with me? So I also said in the book Rehab, it's all about this year, 2024, the 8th year. It's all about up-regulation. Up-regulation. All right? And when you break that word down, because they wouldn't be able to do it by just looking at it, it's why I have to come through and clear it up. All right? Up is saying up, as in heavenly, or going in that direction. Okay? And Ray is the sun. And he said, well, what about Galatian? Okay, which you'll find the word Galatian in the biblical scripture. Well, Galatian gives you a word gull or gal, all right, or gala. So gala means milk. Gala also means white, but gal means wave of God, all right? So a wave of God gives you sound, all right? So we're telling you, get up, all right? Go out into Ra, the sun, and create a sound. And while we're telling you that, I'm also telling you that it's not a coincidence that your government is telling these people who are flying these jets to put X's in front of the sun to cross out the sun. All right? It's not a coincidence. Remember, they had a planet, and that planet was called Planet X. All right? And the Planet X image that Dr. Malachi Z. York put in the Holy Tablets, it was also the Planet X image that showed up in what was referred to as the electrical experimenter back in 1915, June of 1915. They ran it in the Electrical Experimenter newspaper or magazine about a planet-sized ship that looked exactly like what Dr. Malachi Z. York drew in the Holy Tablets, but they tried to call him crazy. But eventually they stopped talking about it. They said that it disappeared and all this other stuff. And Dr. York said, no, they're shooting at it. It didn't disappear. He said, how does something 4 times the size of the planet Earth just disappear? All right. Remember, they were saying that something was coming behind Hellbound. They called it Planet X. Okay. So they lining up this X in the sky. Remember in Luke 21:25, we said there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, well, they already told us that the sun was darkened. That's an eclipse or a solar eclipse or a total solar eclipse. Okay. Well, then what do they mean by signs in the sun or the signs in the skies? Well, Dr. Malachi Z. York put that in the Holy Tablets as one of the 7 plagues or 7 thunders, signs in the skies. You understand? So that sign is an X as Planet X. And if you go look at the image of Planet X as Dr. Malachi Z. York drew it, you'll see that it has a center compartment. It has a compartment on the left and the right, and a compartment on the top and the bottom. It appears as a sphere. Okay, it's called a planet-sized ship. Go look up sun, a 3-sun halo. Okay, go look up 3 suns halo, and you're going to see the image of Nibiru in your skies. All right? And if I'm making all of this up, ask your government to explain to you why they have to create clouds now. Where are the clouds? Why do they have to create clouds in front of that sun? What are they covering up? What is the purpose? What is up with all these stratosphere aerosol injections that Bill Gates been putting out there? Why do they say they want to solo geoengineer and go to war with the sun? What are they trying to hide? They're hiding the sign of the time. All right? And that literal sign of the time is that X that they're trying to mark in front of that sun, because this is the cycle of the sun. X marks the spot. So if X marks the spot and they drawing X's in front of your sun, what's the spot? Where are we telling you to go out into? The sun. And Dr. Malachi Z. York said this. You're going to love this. On Mount Zion. He literally was teaching on a mount called Mount Zion, all right, in 1992, wearing purple, which is that color of that crown chakra, all right, or the Zion color. And he said, even though I'm telling you, you got a connection with that sun, you don't want to believe me. He said, you still want to believe in spookism, right? He said, I'm telling you, you got a connection with that sun. All right, so then why are they trying to X out that sun? For those of you who are ready for that genetic upregulation. For those of you who are ready to receive whatever vital life force, all right, and here goes another sacred about prana. Prana ain't just life force. Prana ain't just what you breathe in. Prana is also secret information, all right, that you could only obtain if you were on code or on the tone of or in tune, listen, in tune with, all right, who, what, or whatever was sending out that information. That's why when you get into the movie Dark City, they spoke about tuning, all right? And the man who was able to tune, guess what his name was? His name was Murdoch. And everybody else kept going to sleep. Everybody else kept going to sleep. And they was injecting people with new memories and new realities, but Murdoch stayed awake. And guess what they were trying to do in the movie Dark City? They were trying to frame Murdoch. They were trying to frame him because they said he was a step up the evolutionary ladder. What does that mean? Evolutionary ladder, or the ladder of Yakub or Jacob's ladder, is all about the genetic double helix, DNA. All right? Because your DNA literally looks like a ladder. His DNA had been, or his genes had been up-regulated, and he became one of the ones who were of God, or like God, or he found God in himself. Remember, we only talking to God's children. Okay, the devil's children are alarmed about this. That's why they're spraying this shit. The devil's children are alarmed about this. That's why they need everybody to be afraid of a very specific dis-ease that has a very specific letter after it, which it doesn't actually mean a dis-ease. Okay, they're not really saying it is one. It's saying anything that could be a threat, and they put the X there. Okay, well, a lot of people think it's only speaking about one thing. All right, but they're using these words because it ain't easy for them to deal with this reality. Are you listening to me? It wasn't easy for them to deal with the reality that 2020 was the year of revelation. It wasn't easy for them to deal with the reality that some of y'all crown chakras have been activating as you're waking up, which is why they moved to take over the woke movement and infiltrate it. And now when you go look up what woke means or what it means to be woke, you'll find social shit. You know what I mean? Sociology, social studies, all right? The LG, all them people, you'll find that. And it had nothing to do with that. It wasn't specific for one group of people or nothing, but they done took it all over. Are you with me? So for those of you who are ready to adorn yourself in the garb of righteousness, because that's what we're on our way to, all right, to be a part of that 144,000 in the election year, what did I say? I said, if by the year 2024, I said it years ago, and I've been saying this, I said, if by the year 2024, people don't elect themselves as gods, okay, or Ella or Alihat, if people don't elect themselves and they still waiting on another precedence, after that Trump has already been blown, then we have a problem, okay? So we're waiting on the rest of you to activate that gall in you. You got to, it takes gall to do this, all right? As I say, regulations, up-regulation, genetic up-regulations, okay? Galatians, it takes gall, all right? When you activate that wave or that flow inside of you, then your genes are going to be up-regulated. I told you can laugh to up-regulate your genes. You can watch a comedy special and laugh and upregulate your genes. You can go outside and jog and run and have a good time as you get into that joy, all right? Or enjoy yourself and enjoy. Listen, when I speak of joy or being uplifted, listen to how it sounds. Uplifted, up there on a higher plane, flying high. You ever heard somebody say, I'm on cloud 9, okay? But when somebody's depressed or up under that pressure, they say they got dark clouds floating around them. You know what I mean? It's not the same frequency. They're literally heavier, all right? The more you enjoy this, you yourself will speed up. And they say time flies when you're what? Having fun. And I said, I'll do you one better. Time flees when you're distracted. So everybody trying to figure out where's the time going. But if you just enjoy this time and you start treating every second of every day as something that you're grateful for, okay, you'll speed up. And next thing you know, you're neck and neck with the time that's leaving everybody. Because you done trained your mind consciously, all right, to speed up time, which will be speeding up your actual reality itself or your relativity to time, okay? And the next thing you know, you'll find out time wasn't actually speeding. It was that the realm was expanding, which causes for the phenomenon of time speeding up. But how does the realm expand? Because the sun is increasing in frequency, all right? That's where you get the signs of the blue sun, okay? So to upregulate the genes, all right, think about genetics. If you think about the word gene tick, all right, tick means time, all right, or tick connects you to time. And the word gene gives you, we have the pan-G, all right, or the pan-genos, okay, which is all. Pan is saying all, okay, and genos is saying the offspring or the children of. And if I say the all right, especially in the Hermeticas, of those of you who are Hermetics, all right, or Hermetics graduates, all right, what is the all? It's literally like saying God or the source, okay? So when you're saying pan genos, all right, you're saying the offspring of God. And that gave you the word gen or pangen, and then that gave you the word gen, which is gene. So when I'm saying genetics, I'm literally saying Genesis, which brings you to the word Genesis or the genealogy of Isis, but I'm also saying all offspring, okay? So remember Psalm 82, verse 6. All of you are all's offspring. Activate your genes, okay? Genetics. All of you are all's offspring. Yeah, you're all gods, but you're all children of the Most High. But I'm only talking to who I'm talking to. And we also said, for the sake of the elect, the days will be shortened. So if you're experiencing that time is moving faster, we did this for the elect. And this is election year. And all I'm asking is, if not now, then when? If you're not going to come together now, after they have no more, you know they ran out of presidents because they had to reinvent Kennedy. Kennedy supposed to be running now. They have no more precedents. I'm saying the word like that on purpose. The trump has already been blown. And I explained to you that they said in the book of Corinthians, right, that once they say in the day, I said, I'll show you a mystery. That's what it said. I shall show you a mystery. On the day that of the last trump being blown, right, it said, we will not all sleep, but we will all be changed or transformed. Okay? I told you the word trump and sleep was in that same scripture. Trump is one of the presidents, and they called Joe Sleepy Joe. And Kamala name means lotus. And lotus was what you use to put motherfuckers to sleep. All right? Or let them lose their senses of what they were supposed to be doing, or their definiteness of purpose, cause them to drift off into a sleep. All right? Or lose their soul. Kamala. So you have Kamala and Sleepy Joe versus Trump. The Trump already been blown. They literally said Trump. They didn't say trumpet. Okay? In some translation they did. But in KJV they said Trump. That's that nigga name. So they don't have any more precedents. They don't have so they want your vote. They're going to come for your vote, your V-O-L-T. They need your voltage, all right, in the election year or the electricity year. All I'm asking is, when are you going to decide? Because if it's not now, then what are you waiting on? All right, they talking about global warming. They talking about 2030 or 2027 to 2030. Okay, they talking about all the global greenhouse gases, the carbon dioxide emissions and all that other stuff. They saying that the planet going to reach the 2 degrees Celsius by 2027, and they're concerned about that, and they put that in The Man Who Fell to Earth. And The Man Who Fell to Earth, they talk about the same thing that I'm saying: quantum fusion, spiritual integration, harmonic convergence. That's what's going to save your world. But when are you going to decide? I told you, your variable is your consciousness. You have to decide. And after you decide and you pick up on that wave of God, which is coming now, all right, that sound, all right, and you get out there in that sun, you're going to speed up. So you should realize that spring seems like it's right now. Y'all should be observing that. It don't really even seem like it's supposed to be cold. It seems like spring supposed to be right now. It seems like it's coming earlier. Then you're approaching that solstice. All right. This is a powerful year if you let it be powerful. And by you, I mean all of you elect. All right. It don't take everybody in the world to do this. It only takes a certain amount of you to onset it. All right. Or bring it about. Okay. That's why they gave you the number 144,000. So, interestingly enough, the 144,000 fundraisers happened until what? April. Are you listening? I said on April we'll stop it. And then it just so happens that in April, there's a planetary alignment and a solar eclipse happening 4 days within each other. A lot of celestial activity. Are y'all with me? This is the beauty of it. So X marks the spot is a reminder. And the question is, what are you going to do with that reminder? Did you want to learn that song? Did you want to be a part of the 144,000? All right. If you want to find the Om, let me say this to you. If you want to find the Om, I told you how to find the true light. I told you that, how to find the green light. Go into a dark room and you'll see the green light. If you want to find the AUM that everybody's been talking about, to hear it for yourself, there are 2 things you can do. Just put your hands over your ears. That's one thing. You'll literally hear the Om sound, or go into a body of water, submerge yourself in a body of water, take a deep breath, go underwater, and you will hear the Om. Okay? When you think of water, you think waves. All right. And if I'm telling you that the sound of God is speaking there, okay, then you still have the way of water that comes into play. When you think water, what color comes to mind? When you think of the water, what color comes to mind? Blue. Are you with me? And this is that year where that blue comes, because we're in the green light now. That blue light is coming, and it's coming swiftly. You know what I mean? What you got for me, young elder? That's a major breakdown. They should be able to take that.
Man, little bro, you cracking heads and twisted caps. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of stuff you said that was heavy duty. Now let me ask you this. I know they got Malcolm X, X marks. The X represents the unknown, the mathematics, and that factor, the unknown, the unknown factor. Some people are scared of the X because it's the unknown factor. People are scared of what they don't know. Could you go in on that a little bit? All right.
I could. That's a real good point. So for one, like I explained, people didn't know the science of the pyramid. And if you don't know the science of the pyramid, then you've been looking at Hermes Trismegistus all wrong. You've been looking at the science of the Trinity all wrong. Okay? If you're looking for the capstone to be at the top first, all right, without understanding that these were guys teaching this, then you don't know the science of that X that is the pyramid. So a lot of people don't know when you're looking at an X, you're looking at a pyramid. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people may not also know that when you're looking at the X, I think it was the Phoenician letter, what was it, Samek? Or something like that, Samek, okay, which was also a symbol for the fish. You know what I'm saying? So the unknown part, all right, because I even had a line in one of these songs I came out, actually I didn't come out with it yet. It's on the Marriage of the Lamb album. All right, it's coming soon. I said, it's no unknownism. We don't do no 666 in here. All right? I don't know where all that shit came from. Actually, I do, but I ain't going to go in on them. Okay, but we're not doing the 666 because we've evolved beyond that. Why it seems like everybody get a piece of information and the first thing they do is they go to the dark arts. All right, instead of ascending past the darkness and going into the light. Everybody stop at the dark. You understand? So we went from the 666 past all of that. You were supposed to go into the 999, which is what Dr. Malachi York brought forth. That's why I was confused. How are niggas talking about non-ether and still repping 666? Somebody means carbon. You know what I mean? No, it wasn't that 666 mean carbon. What they were trying to say was 666 meant carbon, which is the unknown teaching, right? To say that it was black people. And I said carbon is in every living thing, in every living being. Caucasoids, Mongoloids, Negroids alike. Okay, carbon is in everybody. So to say that 666 meant black, okay, was an unknown within itself or a misnomer within itself because melanin dominant people are not black. That's another key. Okay, to say black is to say a color or a code. Everybody should be aware about that. By now, I mean, when you look at the color itself, okay, but that's why they tricked you because a color is another word for a code or a category. All right. So black and melanin dominant people are two different things. The brown color that you have as your pigment and the black color that you see on that crayon is two different things. But for some reason, people have started associating that with the darkness and the black. And then they found their way slipping up under Baphomet and evil and said, you know, Satan is just in ourselves and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of unknown things. And people, they call themselves trying to embrace the darkness. You know what I mean? But they haven't embraced darkness. All the people who want to embrace your demons, you never embraced one. You know what I'm saying? You still have yet to come in contact with what a demon is. You don't know what that is. You know what I mean? You think it's all some spiritual shit or some pieces of ourselves. You've never been trapped out there trying to fight your way back. And they got demons coming and trying to attack you from every angle. You understand? And you know all you have left is a switch in your brain to get you back to your body. Because there's nothing else you can do. You can't defeat it. You understand? You ain't never been trapped. A lot of people speak about astral projection, which is another unknown science. And they never astral projected. They never actually left their body. Which is why you got people saying astral projection is daydreaming now. I mean, or astral projection is just happening in your mind. You know what I mean? How do we go from literally the word astral projection means to project out into the astrals or into the stars to leave your body. And you said it's happening in our brain. The organ that we got inside our body. You know what I mean? It ain't none of these stars. Sirius B, Beetlejuice, none of that. You understand? So the X marking that spot was unknown until I came through and cleared it up. So people might have seen the X on the map, but they didn't know the shit what the fuck you supposed to pay attention to was Illinois. But then you break it all down and say that's not unknown anymore. So people fear the unknown, but fear is a thing of the old. All right? People fear death, but fear is a thing of the old. People fear the darkness. Fear is a thing of the old. I mean, no one needs to be afraid anymore. That's why Dr. Malachi York literally said on the Book of Lamb, have no fear. All right? He said, to whom it may concern, have no fear. I have arrived. Well, fear no longer. He said, fear no longer. I have arrived. All right, meaning you don't need to have any fear. So yeah, the X was saying you didn't know who your name. Well, to say you dropped the little off of Malcolm, saying you put the X there because you don't know what your last name was. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if you ever was supposed to have a last name. All you know is this belonged to a slave owner or somebody who was a abrupt force user in those times of the prisoners of war. That's all you know. So you take it off. You say, I don't know what this is, so I'll put this X there. All right? So for people in today's day and age, if you had a map, okay, and there was an X on that map, okay, instead of saying, oh shit, the X is scary, what motherfuckers would do? They would walk along that path, they would travel across that desert, and they would get over there to that X, and they would find out why that X marked the spot. And when you dug, what did you wind up finding? A chest. Stay with me. Where is your heart? In your chest. Okay? X marks the spot. And then you'll find where the treasure was at. And then after you get the treasure or that gold, all right, you're able to get that lustrous gem also that's sitting right beneath that chest, okay, which is that solar plexus, okay, that illuminating gem. Now you have enough information to be able to get up there to heaven, all right, and rise up or raise your frequency. And that's why we're trying to remind you or working to remind you, raise your frequency. I got a song called Raise Your Frequency, all right? I said, yes, you can. Yes, you will. The power is willpower, green light, all right? And raise your frequency is saying Ray is your frequency. Raise your frequency because Ray is Ra, the sun. The sun is your frequency. Dr. Malachi Zio came out and explained that by saying children of the sun or people of the sun. So all of you people of the sun or children of the sun or children of Ray or children of God, okay, who are ready to align yourselves again, instead of looking at that darkness, all right, or that unknown as something to fear, all right, fear no longer, all right, because we've arrived. All right, what do we say? As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Okay, listen, fear no evil. You have nothing to fear. The Lord is with you. All right, the Lord is your what? Shepherd. The lamb has been leading you. And remember that lamb is a letter of knowledge and information and understanding. Okay, right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding. And that's why when Dr. Malachi Zio came with it, they were supposed to receive it. So yeah, the X, that unknown, for that fear is saying that because people don't know what something is, they would rather believe something else, okay, that's more comfortable. They don't know whether or not God is going to comfort them. They don't know, all right, but it's comfortable to believe it. If they knew that God was not coming for them, it would actually probably scare them because they have to face the rest of this reality without having something to lean on, all right? If they knew that God was coming for them, then maybe they would do more works. You understand? But they just have faith. So faith without the works, what they say, is dead. All right? But if somebody put in front of them, like I said, for the people who befriend demons, if we were to take one of them demons and put it in front of them, they would probably drop dead out of fear. You understand? The same way if somebody's saying hell doesn't exist, if we were to take them from this earth plane and send them down there and let them experience what I experienced, you know what I mean? They'll come back and probably be a Christian. I'm telling you. They'll throw all that, I'm a spiritual person away. They'll throw all that, I'm an atheist. I'm telling you, as one of the most conscious people amongst these people, listen, they would throw all that shit away. They'd become a Christian tomorrow. They wouldn't laugh when we say Jesus. You know what I mean? You don't know what name you're saying, but you want some type of help for what the hell these people got to go through. All right? So if it ain't coming from yourself, then what else do you have? Okay? So that's why Dr. Malachi Zio said knowing, all right? It's all about knowing. I don't want to believe anymore. I want to know. And they said already, you will know the truth and the truth will make you free. All right. So you get outside of that prism, all right, or that prison to escape that. Listen to the word escape. X. All right. You get beyond that. Okay. And that's from knowing alone. And if you want to know, you got to ask. Ask, seek, and knock. That's what he said. He said, if you want to know the truth about things, ask. He said, that's what I'm here for. He said, you may not like what I tell you. You know what I mean? But he's going to teach the truth. This is what he was explaining. So if people want to get past that, learn the truth. All right? But you don't have to leave the X there. All right? Because the X remains a mystery if it's not solved. Like algebra. If we say solve for X, that's what we need. And show your work so that other people who come after you will also know how to solve for X. But a lot of people don't want to solve for X. But I solved for X. So I just explained to you why X marks the spot, what the X pathway for the solar eclipse is. All this led around to a harmonic convergence. How the fuck you get a harmonic convergence out of the pathway of a solar eclipse? I know. Most people thought I was about to say, I don't know. I know because I taught you how to speak elite already. I taught you how to speak, how they speak. Okay, they're reading and decoding every day. Okay, so just pay attention to that. What else you got for me? Not only
They also had
they also coded. Go ahead.
They also had a series they used to come out with called the X Factor, where they would make people like you got to stick your hand in the box and you don't know what's in there. It's like that fear, right? Part. Now, I'm glad you said that because like now that X Factor is going out pretty much. This is it on the X Factor where we don't know no more. I mean, like we was in faith and belief, and that workforce it got us to what we got now. It got us to where we at now. A lot of us. But now that being that this new age is coming in with the X's and all that, this is the X marks the spot. This is the end of the unknown age. Now everything can be found out like that, man. Like you said. So I guess the question that I got on the next X, if they got triple X rated R type films, right? And they put triple X on it. And so what are the signs behind that with them using the triple X, and even in like anything they got that's not supposed to be viewed, they say by underage people, they put a triple X on it. You know what I'm saying? This shit is rated R, triple rated R. You got to be triple rated. You know what I'm saying? Right. What the fuck did they? What's that all about? Go ahead.
Well, for one, when you're saying triple X or 3X's, you're saying poison. And all of these things that they've been putting out is poison. And they know it. It poisons the brain, okay? It poisons the psyche. It causes the righteous man to fall, all right? That's why they said that in Revelation, I think it was Revelation chapter 17, they spoke about the harlot, okay, or that great whore of Babylon. And that great whore of Babylon, or that harlot, caused all the nations to be drunk. All right, they said it was the wine of the fornication, of her fornication. The word fornication or porne gave you the word porne. And that porne gave you pornography. All right, so then what is pornography? The word porno or fornication, all right, was saying prostitute. Okay, porno, prostitute. Go look it up, porne, give you prostitute. And graphy, the word graphy is saying something that was a writing. All right, so if you want to know what the key word is for pornography and how it links up to that Revelation 17, literally the writings of the prostitute. And what was the writings of the prostitute? Revelation chapter 17. You understand? So they knew that when they put out pornography, for one, to make it as easily accessible as they did, they knew that because it was referred to as the more molecule, which is dopamine, all right, when people get a hit of something, all right, and that hit gives them this sense of bliss or pleasure, all right, they want more of it. They want another hit and another hit. And another hit. That's why I said, look at the word masturbate. To say the word bait is to say the word hit or strike something. Okay. And if you ask somebody, okay, let me get a hit of that. Let me hit the blunt. All right. You're saying hit, like literally like they're saying with the bait. So they mastered the bait and they made it be that people's masturbation was what people got trapped in. And that's why you have the no fat movements and the semen retention movements, because brothers were not, and some sisters were not able to function. People's whole life was shut down because they'll go to work and they come home, all they can do is think about pornography. All right? And they didn't just stop it there. They put it in the Hollywood movies. They didn't stop with Hollywood movies. They put it in the children's cartoons, the children movies, the TV shows. All right? With scenes today that all you see is violence and movies and sex on TV. All right? They were telling the vision of sex. And everything, so when we were children, we watching cartoons, we don't know that these cartoons have subliminal messages. So how powerful is the subliminal messages? Literally, it's saying sub, line, and L. Okay, so what is line? The green color. And sub means under. They were sending messages that were charging up the parts of ourselves or the chakras of ourselves that rested beneath our line or our heart chakra. All right, that's why a lot of children, 6, 7 years old, are starting to explore pornography. Okay, well, they got to come out with the parental controls and all this other stuff because there's an L that rests up under the line or the limb, okay, or subliminal. So there's subliminal messages that they were using or going beneath the conscious or subconscious messages, all right, were programming us to become sexual children or sexual creatures before we even hit puberty. And by the time we hit puberty, you got the people who were the no good people in our community saying to the 12-year-old boys, he need to go ahead and get him some. You know what I'm saying, to become a man. And that young boy doesn't even understand what any of this stuff will do, okay, which is why I didn't do the shit till I was 20 years old, and I was advised not to. You understand? But I looked at all the other people who was around me, and they lost their way because they started earlier than that point. And everything became about sex for them. You with me? But it was all about pornography in the household with children. I remember because I had people who was adults around in the household that would leave their porn DVDs. You know what I'm saying? So if it was an adult, let's say an uncle, all right, this is literally the truth. My uncle had porn DVDs, and I didn't know what any of it was. I was 6 years old. I should have never saw a title, something about a candy stick. I should have never saw that. But I remember it, and it's right there in the back of my brain. You understand? And it took for me to be in 10th grade. I didn't even know it took 10th grade that they allowed for pornography to be free online. You understand? So before 10th grade, I had never even consumed it. I never watched it. But somebody explained and said, you know, you can go in, and the first thing they exposed me to, I think it was called X videos. You know what I'm saying? So it's resonating up. So the answer to your question is, and that's what I'm telling people, that's why I came out with the rehab book. Okay? Because whether people like it, love it, can't decide, 99% of this planet is on drugs. And I told you they want the world on drugs. They even had a combination, a collaboration with Future and Juice WRLD. All right? And their album was called World on Drugs. And they were trying to program a future of people who were trapped up under that god of dope or dupe. That's why I told you dope and dupe is the same thing. If you call somebody a dope, you call somebody stupid. You a dope. All right? Then you call somebody a dope head, you literally call them, they say they're stupid. All right? But you say dope head, saying that they hooked on drugs. And to say dope, I mean, it's saying you're praying to the one who is the trickster guy, all right, or the liar or the deceiver who deceived the whole world. So when they say world on drugs, they're saying the dragon deceived the whole world, all right, which works right in alignment with that great whore of Babylon. So the reason why the X is there is literally symbolic of poison. And their whole thing is they want to poison the children, all right, and they know if they poison the adults won't care about the children being poisoned. Only time the adults raise a fist in the air about the children being exposed to sex prematurely, all right, before they're supposed to be exposed to it, meaning it's one thing to teach sexual education. It's another thing to expose people to the orgasmic nature of mankind, all right? When children, first of all, let's get that clear. That's molestation, all right? If you expose a child to the orgasmic nature of themselves, all right, or the sensual nature of themselves, all right, before they become an adult, if you're exposing them to that, that's molestation. And people don't want to think about that. So all them TV shows and all this stuff, it's molestation. All right. But the key thing is people were not supposed to be exposed to that. Okay. They were supposed to be able to cultivate the higher versions of themselves. All right. And then by that time, they would have had the choice of whether or not they wanted to, like they put in the Lucy movie, to reproduce or become immortal. All right. And the immortals, like the monks and the rest of them, who went on to say, I don't want to reproduce. I just want to focus on getting up out of here. Muksha. I want to escape, okay, this earth plane, as y'all call it, the third dimensional plane or material plane. Are you with me? So they want to poison the youth, and they know if they poison the children, okay, or poison the adults, the adults won't care about the children. And that's why I say they only raise a fist when it comes to the ones who are in the life, all right, or what they call it. I don't know how many words you can't say on here because it's YouTube. But the people who are like the homosexuals, so the rest of the people, if they got a TV show or a cartoon with children interacting with each other or any type of sensuality, then people protest. But you should have been protesting all of the cartoons. You should have been protesting all of the movies, all right? And you should be watching everything. If your child watches something, you should know what the fuck it is before your child sees it, okay? Because if you know you're susceptible to subliminal messages, what do you think is going on with these children? You know what I mean? So it was all about poisoning, and people didn't see it.
I got another good one for you because you just made me think about it as you was talking. Now, now that X it's some alchemy behind that X. So some women say they got like a spot on their body, and that if you hit that spot, the X on that spot, that activates them, the estrogen, increase the estrogen and different hormones in the body and things of that nature.
Right.
So I guess my question for you is that like that X is, could it go more into detail? Could you go into more detail on that X hitting the spot? Because like I say, you got like women got spots on them, men got spots on them. Certain places you could go if you at the right place at the right time. They say, oh, you at the right place at the right time. You know, because you was
Yeah.
on that spot. That X marks
Yeah.
that spot. So the X in timing and location. Could you go in on that? Timing and location.
Yeah, right. It's like right on time. He said he may not come when you want it, but he'll be there right on time. All right, to be right there, smack dead in the middle, or smack alive in the middle of the time. All right, or pleasantly alive in the middle of the time. I don't know why don't you say all this shit to sound like some violent shit. Smack dead in the middle, right there, pleasantly alive in the middle of time. All right, that's right there in the center of the hourglass. Okay, when people are speaking, not just women, I know you said women, but anybody that has what is referred to as a hot spot. Interestingly enough, they call it a hot spot. It's a few different things that can activate a hot spot. Somebody's touch. All right. If you were in a relationship with somebody and they used to touch you in a very specific place, okay, that can turn into a hot spot. All right. Or if it was a place that didn't really get a lot of attention, okay, it can turn into a hot spot. But it's all about nerves. Okay. So there are a lot of nerve endings. So it had to be some type of attention that was paid to that spot before that time. Okay. If you're saying this girl said, oh, you hit my spot. Okay, that spot was activated by somebody else before you got there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You may not like to hear that. It was either her or somebody done paid attention to that spot, and now it became her spot. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas probably didn't want to know that. So that's the truth, because the nerves start to build up there, all right? And you get a reception. So you touch it, it's like, okay, if you were touching a TV wire and you had to move it at a certain angle to get a picture, okay, it's the same type of thing with that electricity. Remember, nerves carry and transmit electricity. So when you touch that spot specifically, it might have been because her favorite guy used to kiss that spot. You know what I'm saying? Or she used to touch that spot, and now it became an activated spot. Okay, but it's all about where that attention goes. The energy has flowed there, and it's sitting there. All right? You can activate another spot in somebody. All right? That's why with the energy, the heat, electricity, people will tell you that there's a fine line between pain and pleasure. Because pain has to do with some type of inflammation, and pleasure has to do with some type of inflammation. Okay, which is why a lot of people are into all kinds of shit. They want to be thrown off of buildings. You know what I'm saying? You walk in, you know, met this bitch. You walk in, she got a whole WWE set up. So what is this? What's the meaning of it? She said, we just having sex. That ain't sex. That's like, they basically want you to beat their ass, so many people. And I mean, but it's pleasurable to them. All right, but how did we get there? Let me tell you how that happened. Pornography. Because somebody saw somebody get choked out. They said, I wonder how that would feel. And they tried it. It was a rush. All right. And then it created a spot. Somebody saw somebody get their hair pulled. All right. They tried it. It was a rush. It created a spot. All right. Somebody saw somebody getting smacked out. They said they tried it. It was a rush. It created a spot. All right. But I don't think people are really thinking about the nature of that type of pornography is really rape. You understand? And they made it be that rape was the thing that people were attracted to. You understand? And that created a spot for people. So it gets real tricky. What kind of being would want that to be the existence? All right. So it's a certain type of people who would thrive off those type of thrills. And let me tell you, it wasn't our community. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't what that was. But there was a group of people who ran around raping and pillaging, and they got off doing all that type of stuff. But then it became their sexual lifestyles too. And then now it's like almost internalized that if you're not doing that to a certain degree, then a lot of women ain't satisfied. You know what I mean? The only way that you can reverse that is literally paying more attention. But you can't last long enough to pay more attention, meaning you can't work with them long enough to pay more attention to different spots, because by the time they get bored, they on to another person who's going to slap and choke them out. You know what I mean? If y'all wanted to answer to this, it's just what it is, the truth. But it was pornography that did this to us, to our communities. And they didn't just push pornography through the screens, they pushed it through the music. You know what I'm saying? So in the music, they said, what Megan Thee Stallion said, choke me out, some other shit, all kind of shit. Slap me, beat me up. All right, you had the city girl, whoever the girl was, Young Miami talking about some hit me or something like that. And the girls think that that's the thing, you know what I'm saying, to do. But it's all about the rush. But how does that work? Because pain and pleasure are right there next door to each other. You know what I'm saying? The same type of sound somebody make with pleasure is the same type of sound they make when they're in pain. You with me? So edge marking the spot has everything to do with nerves, nerve endings. And if you can master that and understand that, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to tell people to, you know what I mean, become no sex guru or no shit like that, niggas who taking notes. All right, I'm just saying, all right, them spots you're talking about came from nerve endings being active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had me rolling when you said niggas like it to get thrown off a building and shit. I was like, that shit crazy. Yeah, this motherfucker.
It's so crazy because it's the crazy shit people treating like it's sacred. You know what I mean? It's real crazy shit out here. And I don't know, pornography.
Yeah.
Pornography did it. All right. Because, you gotta remember, we had to be taught this shit. People had to teach the communities this. And they would use them porn stars, meaning them gods of forne, all right? Them prostitute gods, men and women, okay? They would use them to push out these images. And then from children, you got 12-year-olds having sex, 13-year-olds having sex. Okay, well then they're starting off with that type of mentality. And sexuality has just been completely perverted. Okay? So for even people trying to convert over or walk over to say, we're going to be just sensual people now. We're not pushing sexuality. We're pushing sensuality. It's the same shit. You know what I mean? The people over here in sexuality taking out their clothes, sensuality, y'all taking off y'all clothes too. You swear it's different, but it's not different. You know what I mean? These women in the conscious community saying they're going to take their clothes off. All right, it's all about attention. It's all about attention. It's all about energy. It's about lust and being lusted after. You feel what I'm saying? So the niggas ain't going to complain about that shit. They're going to say, you're a beautiful goddess. Yeah, that nigga beating off. He's not thinking about you being no beautiful goddess. It's just to encourage you to continue to be his fantasy. You know what I mean? If you really want to go back to the mathematics of that unknown, all right, and reverse the perversion of the unknown, cover up and be more modest. Okay? Because modesty was used to protect not only the woman but the men. Okay, the men and the women covered up. If you go and look into the religion of Islam, and if you speak about supreme mathematics, you're speaking about the mathematics, meaning Islam, okay, that way of life or that deen, okay, that brought you to being a supreme or super being, a superman, or beyond man's world. All right. So if you really want to express sensuality and keep it sacred, put your clothes on. Let me tell you, this conscious community of men they just street niggas and dashikis, all right, or cornballs who couldn't really get it figured out, so they came over here and they learned a few stats and facts and made people think that they was on something. They're still men, and they're going to encourage you, but they're not going to tell you the way to really protect it is to cover up. All right, so if you want to look at the most powerful religion on the planet right now, religion-wise, it's Islam. All right, it's because when a Muslim woman walks into a room, there's a certain type of respect you have to give her. It's subconscious. It's not something that we consciously do. All right, now does this mean that just because a woman is walking down the street and she's wearing a G-string and a crop top that she doesn't deserve respect? No, that's not what it means. So I don't want people to misconstrue that. All right, men and women alike, I don't want you to misconstrue that. That's my point. My point is, though, if you're speaking about raising the frequency of a community, make it less about the body. You know what I mean? The more you show, the more you just remaining in that reality about the carnal nature of man. All right, the carnal nature of humanity. You feel me? So X marks the spot for that unknown part. Could be saying you're going to cover up. All right, you're going to remember your morals. All right, your morale, meaning you want to be more like El. And you're going to cover up knowing the state that your world is in. And you're going to cover up to say, not you're hiding your body in shame. Because you got to go all the way back to the garden where they started to put on the aprons or the fig leaves and all that other stuff. When they found out that they were naked and they covered themselves up, they did it out of shame. You got to go all the way back to the garden before they started to worship a new deity, new deity. And that new deity was no longer coming from the source. That was Lilith. And if you go look up what Lilith means, it means belonging to the night. All right, which means coming up under Luna or the moon or Baphomet or Sophia or the demiurge reality or the demi saying the semi, the half of your body that goes off of urges. All right, which is speaking about your reproductive organ of the reptilian brain. So that's why Dr. Malachi Ziort said that lust was the birth of mortality, all right, and the death of divinity. This goes for everybody. You know what I mean? This is the reason why when you're going to see me stepping through with the sisters, all right, or the sister, which is Mrs. Faise, my wife, it's going to be modesty. You know what I mean? You're going to accept it or you're not going to accept it. It don't matter. It's going to be modesty. We could easily say, oh, we're going to promote this, promote that, and blow up all this. It's bullshit. If you walk in, let me tell you something. If you're not able to have your mate, okay, in the public light in a respectful manner, you yourself are losing respect.
Right.
Okay? If any average Joe Blow can go onto the internet and find images of your wife's breasts, okay, or your wife's buttocks, all right, or anything, okay, then the type of disrespect that is associated from those brothers to that sister is also bled off on you. So all you brothers, in order to, they try to say these things, so if you can't handle a bad bitch, they don't have a bad bitch. You understand? Well, that's the problem. That the wording that you're using for itself is a problem. That's why I tell you, sisters, I don't care who niggas are, don't let niggas call you bitch. You feel what I'm saying? Don't all that trying to say, oh, if she a bitch, I'm gonna call her a bitch. If she a goddess, I'm gonna call her a goddess. Rashad Jamal was like, if she didn't want to do polygamy, then she's a bitch because she just dropped in frequency. You ain't no goddess no more. Don't listen to them, okay? I don't care what the women say amongst themselves. Brothers, you already know we have a say-so in this shit, okay? They say, well, women call each other bitches. We're not women, okay? All that pointing the finger don't help. Stop calling them bitches. And all this, if you can't handle a bad bitch, it seems to me you're telling me that because somebody has what is supposed to be a beautiful, sacred body. Remember, this is Islam, too, that kept this science there. All right? Sacred. It's supposed to be a sacred body for the eyes of the husband alone, not to objectify her, okay, because it wasn't about an object. All right? It was about, for one, let's get into the reality of it. The reality of it is sex wasn't for pleasure. Sex was for reproduction. You know what I mean? Somebody took that multiplication part out and said, be fruitful alone and don't multiply. Well, they said be fruitful and multiply. Sex is for reproduction. All right? Now, there was an orgasmic nature associated with it, but that's why it was sacred and not for everybody. Again, does this mean that because a woman is able to be viewed in her bikini, all this stuff, that she's not to be respected? No, I'm just telling you, niggas don't respect that.
Right.
They don't respect it. You know what I mean? And they don't feel like they have to respect it. Their thing is she putting out an image. And all they want to do is objectify it because that's what they feel like she knows she's doing. All right? So if you're running into that dilemma, start covering up. If y'all start covering up, niggas will get their act together. Because they know they got to do more. They got to work harder. And it becomes more, let's get to that X marks the spot. It's less of a fantasy. Right. It's less of a fantasy of sex. It's more of the will to get to actually know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I saw a video of a sister who was going around. I think she was 21 years old. She was dressed like a Muslim, but she wasn't Muslim. I don't think she was Muslim. But she was covered all the way up. And they were asking her, they said, so you're a virgin? She said, yeah, I'm a virgin. So why are you dressing so modest? And she was basically explaining the same science, saying, I don't want somebody to see my body and think that my body is who I am. And you're wondering why all these are different relationships you're running through, they didn't want anything but your body. Well, that's what was promoted. You know what I'm saying? Same way with the brothers. If you just promote your pockets and say, all these women want is money. No, all the women you were promoting to wanted money. It's like they show up to a restaurant, right? And you got food. You're like, who want food? Who want food? And then motherfuckers come get the food and you walk outside, shit, all these niggas want food. You're at a restaurant where niggas gonna come and eat and you got food. What are you talking about? That's why I was telling people to cover up. You know what I'm saying? You say, like, when you go to these events, he said you got to watch out for that. All that dressing tight. And also, he said, don't do that because it causes for the men. It's not that it's your responsibility for their thoughts. However, people were encouraged to consider not just, you got to look at it like this. It's an energy that women carry. Okay. So when a woman walks in a room, the energy is going to come off anything. But if you're dressed tight, then it's not just the energy. That's why that word alluring is there. Okay. Somebody could be lured in and they were on a mission. We sent this nigga in here on a mission, but you came here with your body parts exposed. Okay. And now this man who was in the God mind to handle this mission, okay, who probably wouldn't have been focused on anything like that for a long time if he would have never been exposed to it or triggered by it. Okay. That's why Bodhi was breaking down the science of trigonometry. All right. Not knowing what your triggers are. Okay. If you really consider the mission and know the power of the woman's body, you would cover up. But if you don't have respect for it, then you'll be like, well, he need to close his eyes. He need to look away. Well, then why are you revealing? You know what I'm saying? To reveal something is for somebody to see. And if the men are supposed to look away, then what is your point of revealing? Then you might as well be covered up anyway. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm serious about that shit. I'm serious about that.
Yeah,
brother,
I know.
Listen, family members, whoever. My wife is not to be beheld by anybody other than me. If you're seen, you're seen. If we go out, that's a different conversation. If we go out, you might be able to dress her, but you still ain't revealing. You understand? But one thing about it is you're supposed to protect both the woman, all right, and the focus of the. You don't want it to be a situation where this happens often. People, even in families, they fall victim to the lust, and that's whole bonds that have been broken for life and destroyed. I mean, people's sisters sleeping with each other, men, and all that.
They become your ex.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so the key thing for people to remember is all this modesty stuff ain't really to disenfranchise anybody, okay? And frankly, it's on both parties, men and women, to get this shit in order. But if you don't, look at what they're doing to your children. They done snuck past you because you were so busy in your bedroom. They snuck past you to the children in the playpen, and they whispered to the child, you don't have to be a boy.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? I know you was born that, but you don't have to be that. You know what I mean? They got the children learning about different body parts at 4 years old and saying they want to switch over to that body part. This is real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bragging is reading to the children. So if you're too focused on playing around having sex, then you're not going to be focused on your future, and your future is your children. But what you'll find is when you focus on that future and you think broadly, okay, about what you're doing, it's going to benefit you. What else you got for me? I hope listen, I want to say this.
Oh, no, you go in.
Not to offend anybody. Again, let's make that clear. It's not saying that women are supposed to be disrespected because they dress a certain way. That's I want to make sure that that's super clear, because I know some sisters might have been like, wait a minute. No, I'm not saying that because you might reveal, you go out with your girls, that somebody's supposed to approach you and disrespect you. Okay? However, women, between you and I, because the niggas probably can't hear me right now. Y'all know what y'all do. You can only kick it to the brothers who don't know that y'all know what y'all do. You're not a victim in that regard. You know what you do. You know what type of attention you draw, all of that. So if you want to change that part, okay, the part that you can change, then you lessen that type of attention. Now, every other thing that's been done by the hands of men or the actions of men, men are accountable for what we do. Okay, regardless of what y'all wear, whatever things that men do, y'all are not responsible for that. Anything that's done to you disrespectfully, any type of attack or assault, men are accountable for what they do. Okay, so on the flip side, if you want to help with creating this mission reality that we have here, or helping this mission reality we have here, well, then start leaning toward not only the modesty side, but all of the you know what I'm saying, the weaves and the bundles and stuff like that, and the lashes and stuff like that. Start moving away from it, because they sold us Barbie dolls. They gave the little girls Barbie dolls, and they gave the Barbie dolls extensions. Okay, they gave the Barbie dolls those lashes. All right, they gave the Barbie dolls those press-ons. All of this is about decorating the temple. The less concerned you become with decorating the temple, all right, as far as the synthetic version of yourself, the more you start focusing on the authentic spiritual self. So don't let people trick you. They send in all these little say, sensuality is the way to go. No, they're tricking you. It's all about attention and lust. If you want to get that under control, tell everybody to come back home and cover up. All right, listen, it's going to take time. This ain't like anybody going to do this shit tomorrow. Cover up and start focusing more on the mission. And brothers, you got to get your head out the fucking root chakra. You know what I mean? You got to get up out of there. You should be able to go around beautiful sisters and focus, regardless of what they got on. So it's both sides of this shit. I don't think anybody could walk away offended by that, but I'm sure somebody gonna still wind up with it. I'm not responsible for that. I said the goal wasn't to offend; it was just to clear that up. That X, when it comes to that side of it, is saying that it's nerve endings that gather. All right, it's attention that goes, and energy flows there. And if you want to take control over this type of stuff, then yeah, you have to get active yourself. You know what I mean?
Hey,
so
like I say, don't the last part on so the X making you a target. Pretty much when you dress a certain way, you making yourself a target for certain. You really marking yourself for whatever your attention you get. So even on both sides of the field, like when the men, where they like say, I used to walk around with my Crip shit on all the time. So the police saying, "Oh yeah, that nigga a Crip." I mark myself. You know what I'm saying? That nigga a Crip because he got the flag, he got the colors, he got the hat on. You know, so I'm marking myself to be for that attention. So yeah, we So what you think about that?
You know, G's
Target.
moving silence.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, I was saying G's moving silence. That's one of the principles that niggas could pick up on, because you start really understanding brothers and sons don't walk around with their shit all out. You know what I mean? But after a while, niggas was really banging. Now they ain't how G supposed to move. G supposed to move in silence. You know what I mean? That shit is a badge, and it only come out when it was supposed to come out. You know what I mean? So you picked up on a real strong principle. These nations, what do you call it? What do you say? BCF, the Better Communities of Families, GDs, Blood, Crip, whatever, coming together is all about literally nations coming together and deciding that they're gonna activate up under that. It's gonna be the same thing, by the way. Okay, because you notice everybody's mission flag is black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You still go back to the roots. All right. And then the neutral flag was that supposed to be the white. All right. So y'all got the same type of sciences that you've been given. You know what I mean? The sun, the moon, the stars, the book of knowledge, the 8 ball, all this was supposed to be given for a specific reason, and even down to the forks. You know what I'm saying? For a specific reason. So all these nations come together and they get on cue. And it becomes less about being flashy with shit. Say, I want to show that I'm this, and then you embody it. That's why you realize the elders, as they get older, which is you wising up on it, the elders get older, it become less about that flashy shit. You know what I'm saying? Showing it, it become more about them being it, embodying the sciences of it. All right. But by then, it's either that elder that moved over to become some OG in the community, you know what I mean, where the little stress is working up under him and he don't have control over it, or that elder becomes one of the ones who whispering in the ear or speaking in the ear of the young brothers and saying, look, that ain't how I go, young blood. You need to do it this way. You know what I mean? Or you shouldn't go that way. That's the fucked up road.
Yeah.
Oh no, you've been off your square lately. You need to get back on your square. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, we learned by experience. We learned we had to change up or go extinct. You had to change up and go extinct, man. So you got to take the target off your back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We had to take the target off our back. Motherfuckers knew who we were. They saw us coming when we was all blued up. You know what I'm saying?
I got they put a target on my back, but they put a target on my back. They don't know I got a reflector on my back. So they put a target on it, but they don't know that shit pointed right at them. So
right.
I didn't try to shoot the Rico shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Right. Are you like it's like okay, so another thing before we get out, like stereotype, would that be like the stereotype that would be somebody marking because it said that this being got a mark and that's how we can recognize them, right? In Geo, right? This being had a mark. So that X, it makes I learned a lot tonight.
Right? Yeah, when you say type, the etymology of type was saying a marking. Go look up tupos. All right, and then a marking. Okay, so stereo was saying all around. So to stereotype somebody is to put a marking all around. Say all y'all generally, all y'all do this. Yeah, and so everybody's marked. You know what I mean? So stereotypically, melanin dominant people were not ever expected to wake up past the ghost spell. Stereotypically, all of us were supposed to be asleep. Stereotypically, we all lazy. All right. Stereotypically, all we want to do is have sex and make money. You know what I mean? Still and drink and do drugs. But you start breaking that mark. You start breaking that all around mark. All right. Treat that mark like that wall of Jericho. And you rebuke it. And you all rebuke it at the same time. All right. And come together with one good mind or a uni mind. All right. That's why I was teaching you about the Om sound. And we're going to get into it. Listen, none of this is for TV. None of this is for show. Anybody who's around me know I talk about this shit all the time. If I'm not cracking, I'm watching The Man Who Fell to Earth movie. I'm like, yeah, the girl named Edie Flood, the other nigga named Hatch Flood. I'm like, the word is flood. The building that they had was called Origin. I mean, Origin. I'm like, Origin. It's like Origin is saying Ori means light. Yeah. Okay. And gene is saying, like I broke down the genos, okay, which is saying the children. All right, or the offspring. So if you say light children, you're saying starseed. And the name of the building is Origin and Edie Flood. And I think of flood, I think, okay, that was literally a wave of God. You know what I mean? And we talk about the wave of God with the upregulation. You go back and listen to this. So the flood is a wave of God, literally. And how many days did it rain? Who remember? Is it 40 days and what?
40 days. Yep. 40
and what did it say? 40 days and what? 40 nights. That's 4 plus 4, which is 8.
Yeah.
Which takes you back to the book of Genesis. I'm telling you, all this shit is to be decoded. You with me? So this is not a joke to me. This ain't some shit I come on here to do just to laugh and kick it.
No, this is actually high power science right here.
High power science that I'm teaching people how to act. Let me tell you something else, because it's all about that water, right? I told you you had walked off for a second, but I said when you think of that color, you probably heard me say it. Think of the color. Think of the color of water. What color pop up?
Blue. Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
All right. There was a movie called Finding Nemo. If you remember that, Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Right. And I explained that if you want to find the Om, okay, you have to go underwater, and that sound that you hear underwater is the Om. All right. The Nemo mean. The word Nemo meant nobody. Okay. And the word Shiva meant that which is not. That which is not. Okay. So if you were trying to find that water sound, Om, all right, you had to literally separate yourself from who you think you are now and go into that, what would be that darkness, which is actually the light. You understand? To find that true light or that true sound. Okay. And you'll find that at that crossroad is a sea. It's called the green sea. That's why I tell you where the two seas meet. All right. And you'll find Nemo, meaning you'll find nobody. Okay. Which means you'll have an out of body experience, by the way. Okay. And you have to remember that if I'm saying it phonetically in tone one way, Nemo, okay, I could spell it another way and get another realization. So I say Nemo could be Nemo, but Nemo could be Nemow. Nemo. Right? Same thing, right? But what happens when you flip Nemo around? Nemow. What do you get? Women.
Right.
Right. All right? Because everybody's talking about the matriarch now. Do y'all really know what y'all talking about? Okay. The matriarch cannot be confused. When we say matriarch, we're saying literally, I will behold, I make all things new. Everything you've been doing before that matriarch rises up, it won't be like that. You know what I'm saying? It'll be literally a different way. So how you've been looking at it, who you think you are, all of that, who and what are you, all of that has to change in this new heaven and new earth. I make all things new.
That might have to be the next one, but little bro, the rise of the matriarch. You might have to come back and break that down.
Yeah, let's do it for real.
Yeah,
let's do it for real.
Next we'll do the matriarch because everybody asks about that.
Everybody talking about it now.
Yeah, everybody. So so we're gonna do that. Could be the next one because I like to hear your breakdown on that part. Yeah, I love it.
Let's do it.
Hey y'all. Hey, keep in mind we still got the 144K fundraiser going. And we got the 10 books. We already showed the flyer at the beginning of the tape for those that came in at the beginning. We still got the 10 books to the Cash App, any kind of amount of donation. Please sure to leave your emails and the links, right? For Play for Change. We got it right there on the screen, y'all. Now, if you already got the books and you just want to show us some love on the fundraiser, set up over 5, 10, 20. We take whatever you got, man. We ain't picky. We just try to keep this movement going. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't checked out Faise music to see what he's doing with all of the funds, check out his music, man. Hey, when you gonna drop that F Black History Month on your
that's already out now.
It's on there already?
I think it just got out.
I was looking for it.
F Black History. We
shot
that
joint hard. That joint retarded, man. That joint retarded.
I just shot a music video.
Yeah, I'm about to link that in this. I'm about to go find that and link it in this in the descriptions on this one because that's a hard one. That's a new hard one right there. Yeah,
I appreciate that. I just shot a music video to it about a day ago. So that music video will be out within the next 2 days. You know me, I get to working on that shit.
That breakdown, your lyrics, that breakdown, talk about how King and all that. That shit is dope.
Yeah.
Dope. That shit is like first state, like straight art.
I appreciate it.
So, hey, y'all, we're gonna be back, y'all. You know how we do it, man. We stay busy, we stay moving. So yo, assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, hotel, right? Peace be unto you. Divine love throughout the boundless universe to all. Why do?